This One's Wife, the Made-Up Mom. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. There are many people who do not believe that this one's wife's children actually exist. As a consequence of a variety of inconsistencies, both around the times of their purported births and since then, there are many people who have formed the conclusion that the children do not exist. Others find it still very difficult to believe that the children could not exist and think that this one's wife didn't actually give birth to them and surrogates were involved. Ordinarily, that wouldn't prove problematic. Numerous people have children through a surrogate and have admitted as such, but it does pose a difficulty with regard to the issue of the line of succession. Hence, there would be no motivation. There would be motivation for a narcissist such as this one's wife to try and keep that concealed. And then there are others that do believe that she gave birth to the children, and of course the children do exist. But there are many people that do not believe that the births are as straightforward as have been portrayed. One significant issue in relation to that is the complete absence of any credible information provided by this one's wife as to the birth process and being pregnant. We know that this one's wife loves talking about herself. She believes that when she goes for a dump, that is a world-changing event. That when she stands with an empty bowl, pretending that she's making something, that merits sticking it on Instagram. That when she's lurking in the garden, telling you about the arrival of As Ever, the most short-lived brand in history, that she is doing something world-changing and special. Accordingly, you would have expected that we would have been inundated, bombarded with tales about what went on through the birth, how she felt during pregnancy, but we don't get them. And it isn't like her to maintain any form of privacy in that regard, but rather it seems more likely that there are question marks about what actually went on, given the paucity of information provided by this one's wife. Other aspects that call this into question relate to what she tells us about the experience of being a mother. I've explained that if you accept that the children do exist, whether birthed by her naturally or arrived through surrogates, it's likely that she has very little to do with them by virtue of the fact that as a mid-range narcissist, she's too preoccupied with trying to show the world that she's kind and caring and a great mum than actually rather getting on with it. This is because it's easier for her to talk about things than actually do them, which is something you find with many narcissists. The reason for this is that it's down once again to the prime aims. If the narcissist can control you and other people and draw fuel from you, gain character traits and residual benefits by just talking about them, rather than actually doing something, then that's what happens. Because the narcissism likes to conserve energy, resources and assets, time and money, etc. And therefore it will. So for this one's wife, what she does is she talks about being a mother rather than actually exhibits being a mother. Yes, we see from time to time a video snippet with one or both of the children where she purports to be involving Archie and Lilibet, but they're short-lived. All you see is her apparently talking to them in the garden or rubbing the back of Lily as she approaches a beehive, or some hands that are trying to smear creme fraiche or whatever it was, cream cheese, onto a bagel. But it is a fleeting glimpse. We have not ever seen this one's wife or Harry with the children from an elongated period of time as you might do in respect of the Waleses' children. Instead, we get what this one's wife wants to tell you about the way that life is with the children, which allows her massive control over them and the image that is portrayed. And she's at it again, because as reported in the Daily Mail in relation to her last episode of the podcast, she explained, this one's wife added that the mom moments push her to success in the business world, with plans in the future ranging from home goods to fashion. Now, there are plenty of parents, both men and women, who are hands-on parents, making breakfast, organising the kids to getting to school, helping them with the homework, turning up at sports days, turning up to watch plays, all of the stuff that goes with it, and are successful business people. Undoubtedly, where they become wealthy, they'll involve some help from nannies and staff, etc. But there are plenty that are involved with their children whilst running huge businesses, successful businesses. But I can say that none of them will turn around and say, I had a mom moment which pushed me to success in the business world, or I had a dad dalliance that caused me to get success in the business world. The two worlds are separate. But this one's wife talks about mom moments pushing her to success in the business world because she doesn't recognize that that sounds preposterous, because she neither behaves as a mum and she isn't a businesswoman. What she does is she says these things because her narcissism makes her think that's what it's like, that you combine the two worlds. She went on to state her son Archie had begun to lose his teeth, and she described becoming the tooth fairy, magical thinking, and leaving coins and a little dinosaur underneath his pillow. She said, I had a lot of business meetings the next morning, but I still chose to cuddle with him the rest of the night. Those mom moments energized me to be a better founder, a better employer, a better boss. This related to the tale of Archie entering the bedroom at 2 a.m. because he'd lost his tooth. I should imagine that we can file that under it never happened. It just doesn't ring true. And of course, what this one's wife has to do is make it all about her. Rather than say, Archie's begun to lose his teeth and he once interrupted me in the night to come in and tell me that, it's, I chose to cuddle him because, after all, dear listeners, I'm a fantastic mum. Oh, but there's more. You see, this is a mum moment, and therefore that mum moment has energized me to be a better founder, a better employer, a better boss. No genuine parent has ever said that, ever thought about that. This one's wife uses what she thinks is how you behave as a parent. That's the type of thing that you see in films, where someone would say, oh, I had a mum moment last night with my young son. He lost a tooth and he came to find me in the night. And it set me thinking that this energizes me to be a better founder, a better employer, a better boss. That's made up bollocks for the purposes of entertainment. It's also made up bollocks by this one's wife because she has no comprehension of what it is to be a mother. She simply does what she thinks is how a mother and a business person behaves, and she gets caught out time and time again. For instance, she also demonstrates how she gets caught out when she shared stories of wearing shoes that pinch and cripple wearers, with this one's wife describing how she particularly struggled during her pregnancies. I gained 65 pounds with both pregnancies, the Duchess revealed, and you're in these 5-inch pointy-toed stilettos. You have the most enormous bump, and your tiny little ankles are bracing themselves in these high heels. But all of my weight was in the front, so you're just going, how on earth am I not just tipping, face planting? I was clinging very closely to my husband. I was like, please don't let me fall. Well, again, never mentioned this before, brings it up now as part of mirroring the guest that she was speaking to. And furthermore, it is a revision of history, which is done because her narcissism says to her, you need to say something about being pregnant and wearing stiletto shoes, and therefore she invents this anecdote. Yet again, she is a made-up mum because she doesn't do any maternal things or very little. The child rearing is left to possibly Harry, most likely, nannies and other carers, while she flits around, going to New York and arsing around with playing at being a business owner. This is, of course, if you accept that the children exist. But time and time again she tells on herself, because what she talks about in relation to the children just doesn't have any air of authenticity about it. It is what her narcissism believes is how you should behave as a mother. So that's what she portrays. And it always comes across as false. that it doesn't stack up. It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't chime with actual parents' experiences. Because once again, it's fraudulent activity on behalf of this narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.